Oh, that's a good way to start a video. Yawn! Um, Shifting microphone. There's not a whole lot of room on this desk. Sup, Reitanna? It's Reitanna Seishin here. Tired, as usual. I think it's been a long time since I've done a long-ass rant, but I also need to work, so I'm having some monumental difficulties transferring weights here, because whenever I use the hip or the butt sliders, it makes the feet get bigger or smaller, and that is not what I want. In case any of you who use Miku Miku Dance recognize this mesh, it is because it is a Miku Miku Dance mesh that is available on DeviantArt for 10 points. So I was like, that's inexpensive! Click. Anyway, I'm not exactly sure what I'm doing, honestly. I think I have an idea, though. I think I know what I did wrong. Anyway, we're going to talk about political parties. Because there's some, like, just stupid shit that political parties need to die. And the reason I say that is because... The reason I say that is because people treat their political parties like it's their religion, and the way people treat religion is already bad enough. Okay. From to weight paint. Correct. Transfer weights. By name, all layers, replace, clean, keep single. Hang on just a moment, I gotta check these. Okay, that actually looks a little better than it did before. Maybe that was the problem. I think it was missing one of its skirts. So there was a story on AOL about a man who murdered his wife and children, but now has recently claimed that he murdered his wife because she strangled his children because he wanted to separate. Now, honestly, I left a comment because on these kind of news things, you can leave comments. And I left a comment saying that, I would believe that he was telling the truth if it weren't for the fact that he discarded his children's bodies like he did, his wife's body, and simply tossed them into oil barrels. Now, if he cared about his children, and if he hadn't been the one to kill them, he would have respectfully buried them and just dumped the wife's body away like trash, right? And then I said, if it were me, I would, if I saw, like, my wife killing my children, and I ended up killing her in a rage, I would have called the police. I would have left the bodies where they were because those are evidence. If I touch the children's bodies, then I'm going to get my DNA on them, you know, other than what I would already have on them from, like, holding them and feeding them and such. But, you know, that's, you leave the crime scene the way it is. Call the police and say, I just killed my wife because she killed our children. And somebody replied, you're a Trumper. And I'm like... whoa, where did that even come from? And I'm like, there was no indication of my political views anywhere in that comment. I don't know what makes anybody who supports Donald Trump say any of that. You know, it's people bringing politics where politics don't belong. Bottoms half fitted skirt. Eben. And I just, you know, it just bugs me. And I was reading the other comments, and there were these comments like, there was one that said, he's a liar, so he must be a Democrat. All Democrats are liars. And then there are people blaming the entire Republican Party on him killing his family, and people blaming the entire Democratic Party, you know, Democrat Party, whatever, I don't care, on the thing, and the thing has nothing to do with politics. And I'm sitting there like, you guys treat your parties like they're your identity, and it makes no sense, because let's think about it. There are people who are Republicans, and there are people who are Democrats. People are humans, and humans are humans, and humans, let's see, we're separated by the people who, you know, are good and the people who are bad. And let's see, some humans lie and some humans don't. So, you know, it only makes sense that because the both parties are composed of human beings, that some Democrats would lie as some Republicans would lie, but some Democrats would tell the truth and some Republicans maybe some Republicans tell the truth. I only have to assume that some would tell the truth, but I don't know. I don't have a party. But in my lifetime experience, where is it? Oh, it's because I saved it in tests. That's why. Okay. I don't know. For my life experience, Democrats have always been the one that made things better, and Republicans were always the ones that seemed to just fuck everything up. You know, that's been my experience. And not a lot of people know that way long ago, the parties' names were actually switched, so meaning our now Republicans were called Democrats, and our now Democrats were called Republicans. But something else that people don't take into consideration is the fact that no matter what party people say they are, most of America is moderate. Like, I guarantee if you take any Democrat or Republican, you know, average American, not actually politically in office or whatever, you could ask them a series of questions, of both liberal and conservative questions, and I guarantee that person is going to score moderate. Like, I have plenty of conservative views, but I would never consider myself one of them. So, but I also have many liberal views. And it just comes down to the fact that these things are simply labels. Labels. They're labels that people... God damn it. I might need... depending on it, I might need to fix the mapping. Okay. No, it's still doing it. No, that's not supposed to happen. Okay, well... Did that one? No, that's still not fixed either. Blast. Foiled again. There's only one thing that I can truly do to see if it's acceptable for now, just for personal use. Anyway. And no stuff's been removed. Shut up. Okay, seems with her sliders. Is that really what I made her look like, though? I could have sworn. No, I gave you bigger butt. Woman! I gave you bigger butt. Ugh. Okay. Anyway, Reitanna, if you keep doing this, you're just gonna keep getting distracted and you're just gonna keep getting off the topic and stuff. I know. So, I wish I could find the comment that I actually left. Hang on, let me see if I can. Okay, yeah, I did manage to find it. I wonder if I could find... Okay. Anyway, so I said, it's only until I see the comments on these stories that I realize how religiously people stick to one political party like a religion. Wow, that's redundant. If I had proofread this, I would have said something different. This has nothing to do with politics, and people of both parties need to stop blaming each other for things that might not be either of their faults. The truth is, average everyday American, you do not understand politics. You never have, and you never will. You are unintelligent and follow your party no matter what it does instead of thinking about people as human beings with different personalities, thoughts, beliefs, and morals. Your party is just another label, a label that you should not define yourself by, and an excuse to blame someone else for everything wrong with the country. Whose fault is this? It's the fault of a human being. Besides, you only identify yourselves as a party because you want to define yourself by a label, when we all know for a fact that you're neither liberal or conservative, you're moderate. Somebody replied off the subject, but a comment I wish many would read. I've been a Dem, a Rep, back and forth a few times, then a Libertarian, and finally wound up labeled an independent who votes for the candidate, not the party. I foresee the old school Dems and Reps spinning off their far left and right wings into separate parties. Who votes for the candidate and not the party. That's the way it should be. If we didn't have political parties, then people would just vote for the person. And it wouldn't change much, and it would actually make things better. Instead of having, I have a Republican cabinet, I have a Democrat cabinet, whatever, blah, 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 blah. If we got rid of the parties, then instead of all the people having the same views, all the people being in there regardless of their views, like if a Republican's in the office, he's gonna want Republicans with him. How about instead, if we didn't have parties, people would vote for the candidate based on their views and not because, I was raised Republican, so I'm gonna vote Republican even though I don't like the candidate. I'm not saying all Southerners are Republican, but that's the stereotype. I know for a fact that there are very non-stereotypical Democrats and Republicans out there. I'm just being stupid. Anyway, so let's say the people vote in somebody because of their views. There's no such thing as any parties. So they vote in a person due to their views, and hopefully, if we didn't have parties, we'd be a little smarter and vote in somebody, good. And then that person, the president gets to choose all the people that, he or she is affiliated with. But they wouldn't have a party to just go be all like, okay, you guys, all of you are in my party? Okay, come with me. He would just, he would pick he or she. We haven't had a she president yet, so that's why I'm saying he. So, but they would pick the people that they like based on their views and their relationships and people that they feel are credible. But and so that way we wouldn't have half the country blaming things on an entire party when it's most likely not even their fault. Like, Republicans blame Democrats on everything. And you know what? Democrats aren't exactly innocent. There are a lot of hardcore Democrats out there that that blame Republicans on everything. Granted, there are a lot of problems that Republicans have caused, especially nowadays, but not everything is their fault. And not only that, not everything is political. And that's what I hate. It's just like, oh, well, this guy killed his family? Well, obviously it's the Democrats' fault. What if the guy was a Republican? Would you say that then? Would you say, you know, I mean, obviously, if the guy's a Democrat, that's gonna fuel your little fire you've got going on there. But if the guy who killed his family was Republican, what do the Republicans say then? Do they say it's the Democrats' fault for I don't know? They sometimes they end up with this like brainwashing conspiracy. I'm not saying everybody, but you know, a lot of the hardcore ones are just like, I don't know, it's just crazy. It's crazy what we all say about each other. But, you know, it's like you got to think about a lot of the times Democrats in political positions are honestly a lot more put together and a lot more intelligent than Republicans in political positions. But when it comes down to it, when it's just the average American, both sides are freaking idiots. I mean, not everybody, but, you know, the most intelligent people we have are the people who are moderate and you know, look at either side and go, what are you doing? You know, oh, it's all the liberals' fault. Why is it the liberals' fault? Oh, it's the conservatives' fault. Why is it the conservatives' fault? You know, it's just like, you think about your views and go look them up. Go look up to see if they're conservative or liberal. You know, go look up some kind of quiz. I don't know. Let's see if there's a I spelled conservative wrong. Let's see. Welcome to the home of the most intelligent, informative, impartial, and encompassing quiz for finding out the answer to the question. To the question. Am I liberal or conservative? By taking this anonymous quiz, you will gain an understanding. I just changed the accents of what liberal and conservative positions are on 32 important issues. Keep an open mind as you answer these questions, and don't try to match them to any political party or candidate you are already familiar with. This is not a Democrat versus Republicans quiz. It is more accurately described as mainstream left, i.e. progressive, versus mainstream right, i.e. conservative quiz. As you go through this quiz, you will see where the liberal versus conservative positions are true opposites of each other, and where they merely represent a matter of degree. On some issues, you will clearly prefer one ideological side over the other, but on other issues, you might wish you could take a more integral approach that combined the best of both sides. This website is offered as a public service, blah, 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 blah. Abortion. I have to read all of that. So, okay. Most abortions today are performed by personal inconvenience reasons of family planning reasons, a little weight given, and moral considerations for the rights of the fetus. Society has a duty to regulate abortions because a fetus is not a woman's body, but a distinct being in a woman's body. As a baby is in development, soon to enjoy all the rights endowed by every human being, a fetus deserves some legal protections against a mother who would offer it none. What happens to a human fetus is considerably greater consequence to society that a woman does not, blah, blah, goes against all logic and morality claim that the woman wants to carry the fetus to term. A fetus is definitely precious, but of an woman unless an abortion. Her fetus is no more worth a fetus that is an obligation. So this is obviously 4. The difficult decision whether to have an abortion revolves around highly personal considerations that are best left for the woman involved rather than society as a whole. The rights of a pregnant woman pertaining to the pregnancy clearly outweigh the interest society might have on her. Or maybe that might actually be that is immoral and general abortion should be discouraged. Yeah, that's the conservative view. And in some ways, a woman is the best position to know how pregnancy, blah, 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 blah. So I personally would not get an abortion, but I support the right to choose. So, B. Oh, yes, death penalty. The death penalty is an appropriate punishment only if 2 conditions are met. First, the crime committed is particularly shocking and injurious to society, typically murder with specified aggravators. Second, the judge or jury has to find the defendant is guilty beyond doubt, not just beyond a reasonable doubt. Under these specific circumstances, imposing the death penalty is both just and moral, keeping a terrorist who murdered dozens of blah, 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 armed robbery, and the worst murderers are kept alive. Not only can they continue to commit assault, battery, or even murder, prison, families murder victims must continue to live in knowledge of the person who, for example, some crimes are truly horrific, but those committing them are every bit as human as the rest of us. Human beings can do terrible things, blah, 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 blah. The horrific is defending the death penalty is also never likely to be administered equally to the rich and poor, to all races, to both sexes. Capital punishment not only takes the life of the defendant, but also devastates the lives of the... Well, if you're his parents, you should be devastated that he committed such things. Okay, so with the death penalty, there is a problem of, innocent people possibly being put to death. But, first, the crime committed is particularly shocking and injurious to society. The judge or jury has to find the defendant is guilty beyond any doubt. So, if they are guilty, then yes. I know a lot of people have different stance on this, but if somebody commits these crimes, they are not as bit of human as the rest of us. If you rape and murder a 7-year-old kid or infants, it happens and it's horrible. You are not human. You are a monster. So, next page. By the way, me doing this is not supposed to enrage anybody or bring up whatchamacallit, word, Reitanna. You can find the word. Opportunities to argue with me. So, please don't, be all like, just let opinions be opinions and hush. So, immigration. Our nation is and always has been a nation of immigrants. We have never had a policy of welcoming only doctors and scientists, business and inventors. We also have welcomed also the poor, hard-working men. Many of these men do jobs we ourselves no longer wish to do, send money by decent people. They must not live in fear of being deported or arrested. Though our history shows us that every generation of natives has shown some resentment toward newcomers, we know that newcomers soon settle in, learn our ways. Immigrants have contributed to our nation in numerous ways, which is why we should continue to attract and welcome qualified new immigrants. We should not, however, abandon our border controls and allow hordes of unscreened people to take root in our towns and cities. Illegal immigration creates countless problems on the local. The short-term effects include overloading in the healthcare school system. Employers who employ illegal immigrants should be fined. This is really difficult too. My moral code says you should legally, you should follow the legal system. But have you guys ever taken the citizenship test? For you Americans who were born and raised here, have you ever taken the American citizenship test? Well, if you have, you'll know that you wouldn't have passed. So I've got to go with A on this one. Ugh, guns. The right to protect one's life is most fundamental. If all your life and your life as loved ones under serious threat of an assailant, you would likely appreciate having access to a firearm for self-protection. Even if you prefer to not own a firearm, what right do you have to force others to not own one? It is much more common for lawfully owned gun to be stolen or misused. I don't even need to read that one. Oh, God. I have a sword next to my bed. A real sword. I don't understand taxes, so I'm going to have to actually read this fully. Society can thrive only when all citizens are able to enjoy an adequate standard of living, especially those who are otherwise unable to do so on their own. People who can afford to should be asked to pay taxes at a level that ensures this, in fact, happens. A person who ends up being a high earner has benefited directly or indirectly from the contributions of all other members of society throughout his life, which is why no special sympathy or gratitude toward the wealthy is in order. In fact, many wealthy people can hire clever lawyers and accountants to minimize the taxes they need to pay, and many who are rich have accumulated their wealth in a less than ethical fashion. For there to be more social cohesion, for smaller gaps to exist between rich and poor, for more people to enjoy a greater quality of life, the upper middle class and the wealthy should be required to pay 50%, 60%, or even more of their income in taxes. They will still be able to live very comfortable lives, but at the least the playing field will be a little more level. Money can help solve most social problems. The upper middle class and the wealthy are in the best position to help solve those problems by giving more of their money in taxes. The bottom 50% of earners should not be asked to pay federal income tax. They are struggling as it is. Though tax revenue is necessary to enable a government to fulfill its vital functions, every citizen should fully recognize that taxes consist of the money earned by members of society through their great personal effort, sacrifice, and time investment. Oh, really? Oh, really? Oh, really? So the wealthy, everybody who's wealthy has earned every penny of all of their wealth. To prevent government from being wasteful with the people's hard-earned money, to allow people to keep more of the money they earn so that they can freely choose how to spend, save, and invest it, and to encourage citizens to work hard and attain financial independence, a rate of taxation should always reflect these goals and come down on the lower side of the scale. A high rate of taxation creates a disincentive for people to take entrepreneurial risk and invest in the current economy. It also encourages people to cheat on their taxes and often results in a decreasing revenue. The rich should definitely pay taxes equivalent to their income. While maintaining armed forces is necessary for any democracy that faces enemies, military budgets are typically bloated and should be cut substantially, with funds saved best directed to social programs. A strong emphasis on the military as a vital institution in society is more likely to promote belligerence in war than to prevent them. While some wars are justified unless it is clear the adversary is about to launch war against us, nearly all preemptive strikes are immoral. We should also not keep various military bases around the world or use our military in other nations' conflicts all over the world, with the exception of preventing genocide. This puts our men and women at risk and wastes considerable money that is best used domestically. Military and militarism is something that a civilized society should reduce, not encourage. Therefore, the military has no business trying to recruit at civilian Yes! The military in our free democratic society is there to ensure that unfree, undemocratic societies are deterred from undermining our way of life and our freedoms. Our military should therefore receive... Oh, God. Gay people deserve our respect as equal human beings. They also deserve legal protections against unfair discrimination. Their desire to form strong, lasting relationships should be encouraged in the form of civil unions, with the ability to benefit from virtually all the rights enjoyed by married people. Society, however, has the right to acknowledge what has been maintained throughout history up until very recently in all societies and all traditions without exception. There is a value in maintaining marriage as a legal Civil unions were a step in the right direction, but gay people deserve no less than the full rights enjoyed by any other citizen, including the right to legal recognition of their same-sex union as a marriage. Labor unions. Labor unions are not uniformly good or bad. Unions are sometimes good for their members, but not necessarily for society as a whole. Teachers unions are arguably good for their member teachers. Okay. But rarely do they have the children's best interest at heart. Big labor unions may be tougher negotiating partners with big business, but when it's time for the employer to take steps to remain competitive in the modern global economy for the survival of the entire business or to prevent the business from moving abroad, unions are notoriously inflexible, often to the long-term detriment of their own members. Public sector unions represent public servants, yet their benefits packages have mushroomed so much that the average public sector job now pays more than the private sector job when total benefits are considered. Because of union-friendly politicians and policies, employers now lack the ability to more easily hire and fire employees, which stifles economic growth in the rapidly changing business environment of the 21st century. With or without unions, great employees will nearly always be appreciated by any employer, and an employer who doesn't treat his employees well will find it hard to keep good workers. Private employee unions should remain legal, but their potential negative power should be recognized and limited by voters and policymakers. Unions are beneficial for workers in industry and government and for society as a whole. Workers are the weakest negotiating partner unless they are unionized. Because businesses and government agencies have high-powered representations of their interests by executives and lawyers, employees need high-powered representation as well in the form of union leaders and labor lawyers. The stronger the union, the better matched it will be when dealing with management, which otherwise would only care about the bottom line and shareholder profits. Union salaries are higher than non-union salaries, which is good not only for the union members, but for their families and broader communities. Job stability allows for family stability, and workers who know they can't easily be fired go about their lives with less fear and greater ability to plan for their future. But they could also do like a completely half-assed job. Government union workers deserve generous benefit and there's 11 pages and I'm only on 4. I'll be back. Okay. That was laborious. So 72% of my answers are consistent with liberal positions and 28% are consistent with conservative positions. Now, obviously, that's just one quiz, but obviously, I'm moderate, but I do lean more toward liberal positions. Except, let's see, 2A, 8A, 9B, 13A. I wish. Ooh, I want to see. Okay. Wait. You can download here a PDF of the entire quiz with captions indicating which positions are liberal and which are conservative. Oh, I see. Okay, so 1, I chose B, but I want to see the conservative ones. 2. Okay. 8. Do. 7, 8. Wait. Nope, that's still 7. 8. Huh. I mean, granted, I don't really understand anything about unions, so that one may or may not have been fault of ignorance. 9. Oh, yeah, I saw that coming. 13.
11, 12, and then 13.
Really? Huh. Okay. 18. Oh, this is another thing I don't understand, so... 24. So I'm just gonna disregard that one. Another thing I don't quite understand. But basically this one said, right? Said that if the government wants to build something public on your land, that you should have the right to refuse. So the right to own and make use of one's property is among the most fundamental rights enjoyed by all. The government should therefore not have the right to force any citizen. Yeah, so I don't know, that makes sense to me, but 25. Oh, yeah, I had a conservative view on torture. 26 and 32. I don't really understand. I'm gonna skip that one. Well, let's see. It's gonna be really. Yeah, there's a very large chance that I answered this upon ignorance. And 32.
31. And 32. Human nature.
Liberals are the ones that we believe are born innocent, pure, and loving. Oh my god. Okay. Oh, that's very interesting to me. So anyway, just like any online quiz or any quiz in existence, taking one isn't going to give you, your overall position. Only you know how you feel, and it's like the best way to do this is to just stick with your views instead of labeling yourself as liberal or conservative, whether you're mostly liberal or whether you're mostly conservative or not. So it's just a matter of taking away these labels would give people more freedom to express their views and more freedom for us to open our minds and understand what any political candidate is trying to say, so that we could vote in the candidate based on whether or not we agree with their views, and not like, okay, so say you were raised Republican and your family's Republican, and you're Republican, and a presidential candidate is Republican. No, yeah, is Republican, but they say a bunch of stuff that you just don't agree with, but you've always voted Republican. So why is that going to change? You're like, well, he's a Republican, so he's probably just, it's all going to be okay. So, I'm going to vote Republican regardless of the fact that I don't agree with anything this bastard's saying. That's a problem. That's a big problem. So, I don't know, and a lot of people would argue, but parties are part of our history and our culture. And it's like, well, yeah, but cultures move on, and history is the history. So, history's the past, was what I meant to say. And it's about evolving and moving forward and understanding modern humans. It's about understanding how we behave, and we behave badly. Now, I don't know. I don't understand a whole lot of political stuff. I'm kind of politically stupid, but I do understand the difference between right and wrong. Though my versions of right and wrong, I guess, could be argued by people who, think rapists are humans as well. But, I need to pop my neck. Ow! That felt good. What am I doing with you? I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know. I mean, a lot of times we do rely on labels to identify ourselves. But sometimes we rely on labels for lack of a better word. So, like, say, Zodiac. I'm a Scorpio. I identify as a Scorpio. I am technically a Scorpio by, how the Zodiac works and such. So I'm gonna say I'm a Scorpio. And people might think, oh, you mean you identify as a Scorpio because of the label blah or blah blah blah, or you want to label yourself, and since it says your birth date is within the range of a Scorpio, that's what you are, and you're gonna live your life based on what personality your Scorpios have. Speech. Can I do it? Nope. But when in reality, anytime I read, a more credible zodiac entry for Scorpio, it more or less describes what I already know I am. Usually the ones that are off are the ones like in social magazines and stuff. Like, they don't even know what you're talking about, and all they care is about, oh my god, who you're going to meet and that guy or that girl that you're totally gonna fuck. So, or being an introvert. You can choose to say you're an introvert and act like an introvert, or you already act like an introvert, so that word describes you. Just because the word describes you doesn't mean you're labeling yourself. It's just easier to say that you're introverted. What's going on right there? What is going...
Excuse me.
What is happening over here? Oh, I see. No, I don't see. No. You're not that close. What you talk about? Okay, fine. Fine, I'll move you a little bit. If it's gonna make you happy, I'll move you a little bit.
Did that work? Yes. Yes, it did. Okay.
I mean, again, I didn't make this video so that people would, start arguments with me. I don't need to or want to deal with that. This is, again, a rant isn't, like, hey, challenge me. It's, this is what I think, and I'm gonna get it out. And if you want to listen, cool. If you don't want to listen, cool. But don't be a freaking, dick about it. So, I don't know. Based on however people might react to some of my views, I might disable comments. And people can misconstrue that as limiting freedom of speech, but in reality, it's if you can avoid unnecessary stress, do it. It's like I really don't need that. This I'm like a Scorpio, I'm set in my ways and I'm stubborn and I don't know, I just and then there are often times where I like second guess myself or I go against what I just said previously or my thoughts conflict or whatever. Because I'm a human being and we're all human beings and we should be treated as human beings unless you're a monster. And human beings should be the ones running for political positions instead of parties. Party, because I gotta. I don't know if this is long enough to count as a long ass rant. I think it's because I was focused too much on the stuff I was doing on the computer instead of sitting back like I usually do. Hang on a moment. But in regards to the comment that I got, it said, "You're a Trumper." No, I'm not a quote unquote Trumper. I despise the man. I don't even consider him a person. He's insane. He's a psychopath. He's a pathological liar. He's a narcissist. He's an idiot. Oh my god, he's an idiot. No, I do not support Trump, and I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what sort of things Hillary did. I don't care, but he's not better than Hillary. He's not better than anybody. He's horrible. He's in every single way one of the most disgusting human beings I have ever seen, and it just every time I hear about something he did, I remember the day that he won the election and I cried. And I'm just sitting there and I'm just waiting. I'm just, how far does he need to go, to be impeached? I mean, Nixon resigned because he was going to be impeached, but Trump's, I gotta say that Trump is most likely worse than Nixon at this point. And yet he's not breaking the law somehow, and we find all this evidence and all these people are admitting things, and and there are points where somebody lets something slip and you try to take it back and blah 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 blah, but it's kind of too late. It's like, how many more red flags does this country need? I'm surprised that people still support him. People still support him. And I'm like, how stupid do you have to be? Or is he paying you, what, $130,000 to suck his dick? Especially with, what's her name? Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Seriously, every time she speaks, and she's, God, that ugly bitch, every time she speaks, I just want to be like, "Excuse me, how much is Trump paying you to suck his dick? Because you suck it hard. You suck his dick really, really hard. You suck it so hard that I'm like, whoa, girl, calm down on that dick." So if I didn't learn to laugh at myself, I'd be dead. It's just not a comforting feeling at any point in time, no matter what the situation is, to wonder if you and your close associates are the only intelligent people left in the country. It's I don't know. People just do and say things that make absolutely no sense to me. And it's like, and Michael's the same way. Michael and I, we're not geniuses, but we are above average intelligence. We are decently intelligent people, and so is my best friend. And it's just to the point where, you know, we can't comprehend how people do these stupid things. And we can't comprehend how people don't see that these things are bad. And I don't know, I'm just going around in circles. This is a short ass, long ass rant, but I think majority of what I had to say probably got lost in my concentration of trying to fix this goddamn skirt. I just wanted something interesting to happen on the screen for people who choose to watch instead of listen. But I gotta remember that most people listen to this in the background than actually watch the video because they're long. What do I do? What do I do? Are there any Blender geniuses out there, please? Just help. I don't know. This is stupid. It's stupid. This is stupid. Everything's stupid. The world is stupid. God damn it. The only good thing on this planet are animals, rats, and cute, cuddly snakes and bears and stuff and cupcakes. Oh, I want a cupcake. I'm definitely not making sense anymore. So, this one was boring. This one was not very energetic. Anyway, but you know, if you like listening to me talk, regardless of what it is, then leave a like. Leave a like and press the wheel bell, because if you don't press the wheel bell, gonna make me sad, and you're gonna miss a bunch of stuff. Well, not really, because I haven't been uploading stuff a lot because I've been busy with Blender and stuff, and I don't know what I'm doing. So, yeah, and if you disagree with my views, that's fine, but don't start arguments about it. And, you know, I really don't want to have to disable comments. If there's something I said that you disagree with, just ignore it. You know, if it makes you angry, then click away from the video. You know, just let's just, you know, I mean, I know I'm not one to say keep your head down and keep your mouth shut. That's usually the complete opposite of what I say. But when it's a case like this, and when it can get especially stressful and heated for both people, it is best to keep these things out of conversation. And it's really hard for somebody like me to express how I want to say this. God damn. I can't put into words what I'm trying to say. For those of you who understand Reitanna English, you know what I'm trying to say, but I know there's a lot of people out there who probably don't like me. I mean, I know there's tons of people out there who don't like me, but people who don't like me and are still listening for some reason, that's really stupid, but who will take my inability to form proper speech and use it as an excuse to try and push my buttons. But I don't have time or the energy for that, and I don't upload these to garner your reactions or whatever you want to say, whatever. I just, goddamn, my speech, my issues in speech development have really caused me some problems, guys, in many different scenarios. It's like I know what I'm trying to say in my mind, and I can't put it into words that would be understood by general people who are not used to dealing with people like me with speech development issues and can't understand the circles we go around and our word structure, our sentence structure, and I don't know. It's not something I can fix, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry if things come out wrong. I'm sorry if I don't know. I guess I should just apologize for my existence. So, sorry. But yeah, anyway, so subscribe if you want to, spread the word of awesome if you want to, and become a Reitannite if you want to. I'm just sorry for the lack of videos. I'm really, really sorry, but I have been in this creative muse that I'm just like, I wanna do 3D stuff. I'll try and figure out something to do. You guys didn't tell me if you wanted me to do DDLC mods, so I'm like, shrug. But regardless, thank you for listening if you listened. See you later, alligators and crocodiles.